Hi guys, Jacko here. Just trying to upload some content for Starship Troopers Extermination, since there is little to none of it out there on YouTube. I'm not really a content creator. I don't really care about metrics. I don't care if you subscribe or like. I just wanted to do some sort of service for the community since there is so little content, and I think this game is great. So yeah, let's get straight into it. It's going to be 10 tips for beginners. Advanced players, stick around because there's definitely going to be at least one thing you're going to learn in this guide. So yeah, definitely give it a full watch, and yeah, enjoy. Let's get straight into tip number one. It's going to be about crouching and how important that is. All right, so here we are in training grounds. I'm going to be using this off of the demonstration just because it's going to be more noticeable. This is without any mouse input, right? And standing up. It just is all over the place. This is when you're crouching and no mouse input. Basically just straight up. It doesn't have any side-to-side movement like this one does. And then if I'm actually trying to control it, I actually can. Meanwhile, if I'm standing and I try to control it, there's no freaking way, man. Yeah. Alright guys, tip number 2 is going to be about deconstruction, because a lot of people understand building, but they didn't know that you can deconstruct things. Say you're defending and you fall off the wall and there's not a gate nearby, you can actually just deconstruct the wall, and then ideally you construct it back after you get back into the base. That way the bugs don't come in and follow you, but yeah, you can do that. For tip 3, I want to go over some building designs, like when you're constructing a base, because I mean we're pretty early on in the game's life cycle, so people are still learning good concepts, and I want to make like a more full video about this, but this will be a good baseline to start with. This is the most popular thing that I've seen so far, and it's basically just a layering of the small walls. And this is definitely the worst design that you could do so far, for a number of reasons. One, jumping over this is just terrible. It leaves room for error. If you fall in the middle, there's no way to get out. You have to deconstruct something to get back in. Sight lines aren't great along the corners. Like, you can't see bugs. You have to shoot like their tails, basically, like the very end of them. Not very easy. This slit right here helps for that, but it's not very wide. So other than that, you have to get up on this rail, and then you're basically just playing on this tiny little rail, and it, like, you get good defenses if you play behind this from sniper bugs, but if you play on top of this, you might just get gunned down. And then outside of that, it's really hard to repair, because once the bugs start pushing up, they're going to take out this wall, then they're going to take out this wall, then this wall, and your operators are going to be able to come over here and fix this wall, but then they're not going to be able to push the bugs back. If they're smart, they'll come up here and try to repair it from the top, which you can do as long as the bugs are pushed back, but like this one wall will become your primary defense. It's going to be really hard to reconstruct these walls, and it's difficult to play around with a bunch of people. It's difficult to find ammo or get to ammo because you have to jump so many times and you might not see it very well. Just a lot of reasons not to use this. Don't honeycomb like it's rust. Extra walls don't always mean extra protection in this game. So moving on to base design number 2, this is going to be a little bit better. If you want to do something like this, just replace it with gates instead, with small gates, and then leave them open, and it makes what we call a kill funnel. So leave the gates open. It also acts as like an access point. That's also why it's better than this. But honeycombing these gates together is going to allow you to keep them open and just funnel all of them in. As you can see, I set up a bunker right here, and then you just get to shoot down the hallway. And you can have like 1 or 2 people cover this entire kill funnel. If you are curious, like, you can actually vault up these things. So like, even though I have this smashed up right against 2 gates and 2 walls, you can still climb up it, so it's pretty nice. You can see that you can also build these little half walls up on top of here. It's a little finicky, but it does work. See, so this is nice because if you're playing up here, well, maybe not in this example, but in some of the other examples, you definitely want to put these things on top of the bunkers for cover, because if a sniper bug starts shooting at you, especially on veteran, you only have like 4 seconds or so to react unless you're playing Bastion. So you want to have some type of cover up here, that way people can actually survive sniper bug attacks. Also, putting ammo inside of here instead of putting it around all 4 around the arc. If you just put all these ammo things around the middle area, when everyone's playing on the outside of your base, you're just making the time to go get rearmed even longer. So make sure you put these things in the bunkers. If you have 4 bunkers, you could probably put them all in one in each bunker. And then anytime people need ammo, instead of running to the arc, they just look for the nearest bunker. They know that one will be in there. And then obviously just have your extra sitting off to the side in case people don't need to refill grenades, etc. utility. And they just want to rearm ammo, then they can use this instead. Anyways, design number 3. This is just going to be like an upgrade from that kill funnel. This one's going to be upgraded in the sense that it's using. Maybe we can get a large gate. I mean, a better view of the large gates from up here. But it's swapping out the mini gates for large gates, and then you put these little half walls up just to funnel the bugs, and the bugs are also going to stop and attack them, and it creates just like nice lines. I also put an MG turret here. This is a wider area, so I feel like if you put it here, it might be a waste because only 1 or 2 people could cover that entire kill funnel. No MG needed, but for a wider area like this, you're bigger entrance, you're going to get more value for your MG. So you can put one here. Why this design is subpar is because it's hard to repair this gate over here if it does go down, and it probably will because the bugs don't always funnel straight in. Sometimes they attack the side or these walls or whatever. It's harder to repair these things because when you're in the bunker, you have to go all the way around, you have to come up here. If you're playing above or if you're playing below, you have to run all the way to that front gate. You got to push all the bugs back. Like, it's just a lot. So it's not really that great of a design, but if you want to use a kill funnel, this is definitely a much better design than the one with the small, and then it's much better than the honeycomb one. So yeah, the large gates have a bit more health. I mean, they're still gonna get wrecked by tigers, but they're a bit better than the small gates. Moving on to what would be an even better design, and it's a lot more simple than setting something up like that. And sometimes in these lobbies, you have to set things up quickly. You might be limited on resources because everybody else is spending them or whatever. So if you want to set up, a good portion of whatever you're setting up, if you want to set up like a little corner, this should be how you do it. It should be like 1 bunker and then walls halfway, like offset, like in the middle, instead of like pushed all the way up. So basically the bunker will have an overhang. The bunkers are the strongest things in the game. They have the most health, so we like to put these on the outside of the base, and you want them sticking out so the bugs prioritize coming over here and hitting them. That way this MG also gets great sightlines. It can point pretty much straight down and kill any bugs on the front of the bunker, and then it's got great sightlines because it's essentially outside of the base. Easy to repair since it's still inside, and you can repair it from the bunker. So it should be pretty easy. Plus the hitbox is pretty skinny, so it's not going to take too much damage where it's at. And then it also, even though we don't have a gate here, we still have an access point because we can go ahead and climb up the bunker and to get into our base. So we don't really need gates. Bunkers are just better than gates in general. And then walls, you can double layer them, but really 1 wall is enough because your first wall is the most important one because that's the one you just need to keep the bugs off of, and you need to keep it repaired. So you could just have 1 person covering this side, 1 person covering this side, and then maybe 1 person covering the whole front section. Maybe the MG turret can do it by itself. It just depends on how many bugs there are. But as long as you keep the front of these walls clear, and then maybe you have an operator running around the base repairing random stuff, or if you want to just do it real quick, maybe you have the fast the fast build perk. You can just quickly repair, go back to killing the bugs. It's super easy. This is and more ideal setup than any 3 of these, I believe. Just because the sight lines are fantastic when you're in this bunker. It's 180 degrees. You have great cover from sniper bugs. It can sometimes be hard to kill the bugs for that honeycomb first base issue where you can't point all the way down straight at them. But it's not the end of the world. The trade-off, that's the trade-off, I suppose, and it's worth it for what you get. Less walls are usually better in my opinion, just because they're easy to repair, easier to keep a line, and it's easier to keep people organized. When you have like a honeycomb like that, you've got like people playing back here, up there. If you just smash everybody into one small area, you usually have way better coverage. You get better revives done since everybody's in a close area. The drones just pick you up right away. It's just better. And then on that note, also don't build a huge base. Like, don't use all of the building area. Don't reinforce the entire building area with walls. Keep it nice and tight. So if you had this mirrored 4 times, you would basically want this one here another one right there, maybe a little bit further out, maybe at the start of the HQ would be the outside of the bunker, and then the other one would be pretty much where that bunker is there. The arc would be somewhere in the middle, and then you've got yours. It would probably be pointed this direction, but yeah, it'd be out there. Maybe you can reinforce the corners with electric fences if you want, or just put them around the arc like people normally do. I think that's an okay strategy to use electric fences just in case shit does hit the fan. It's nice to have them around the arc. Although they're not going to get as much value because usually in my games the arc isn't contested that much by bugs. People usually just like turn around and kill them when you get a breach in the wall and the bugs come in. So the electric gates might serve better on the outside of the base, but putting them on the inside is just simple and it's somewhat effective. So you can do that. Yeah, these are simple base designs, and yeah, let me know what you think or make any recommendations if you guys have any cool builds that you've been doing in some of your games. Let me know, because I'm doing a lot of experimentation now and trying to figure out what's effective. So, all right, I want to talk about canisters a little bit and these refineries. So basically, when you get the objective to build a refinery, you just walk up to it, turn it on, make sure you instantly activate it using that green button. It's going to go into the cycle, 30 seconds. And then you're going to see this cooldown bar. Once it maxes out, it goes to 240 seconds for the entire cooldown state. It won't let you use the machine while it's in the state. So just pick another objective. As you can see, A is over here. You can go and do that objective and then come back when this one is off cooldown. These canisters are not susceptible to your own gunfire while they're being filled or while they're even complete. And then make sure when a canister is done, you press the button first, and then you pull the canister. That way you have the most uptime on the machine. Like I said, they're not susceptible to your own gunfire, but they are susceptible to the bugs while they're filling and while they're complete. So if you do end up leaving them on the machine, just make sure you don't let any bugs touch the machine. Yeah, so that you don't waste time. These canisters you can actually use as melee weapons too. A lot of people forget about that, so you can use them. You're not exactly defenseless. And then you're definitely going to want the operators to carry these things. First of all, they have a canister slot. And when it's in this slot, I already have one on my back, but while it's in this slot, it doesn't have its own like damage model. It doesn't increase the hitbox of the operator. If a bug comes up behind the operator and hits the canister, it's not going to blow up or anything. It's not simulated. So it's going to be the safest place. Also, the operator is one of the only class that doesn't have a speed debuff while they're carrying canisters. So every other class, when they're carrying a canister, is going to be slowed down a bit. This operator is not going to be, okay? So you definitely want them to be carrying them. All right, for tip number 5, I want to talk about perks. More specifically, the ammo perks. I'm not really going to touch on loadout or any of these perks, just the ammo ones. Magazine Bandolier and Extended Magazines are the 2 perks available to 2 different classes. Bastion and Operator have both of these perks, as you can see. Here. It's the last unlock for Bastion. Hunter only has Magazine Bandolier, so you're stuck with using that one. But you may have asked yourself which one is better and how do they compare. I can tell you straight up, this one is way better. I'll put something on screen here to show you the different ammo amounts, but this one isn't working as intended. And then this one is just basic. It's pretty simple to understand. You get 2 mags for rifles and pistols and 1 mag for machine guns and marksman rifles. This also applies to the grenade launcher, but it only gives you one magazine. This one's not working as intended, and I say that because it's supposed to increase your magazine size by 50%. It's not supposed to give you any additional ammo, but what it is doing is giving you additional ammo, and it's giving you a lot of it. It's giving you 50% additional ammo. So when it comes down to these 2 things, this one is giving you a bigger magazine and doing this one's job but better. So yeah, this one's a no-brainer. It's going to be absolutely insane on Bastion as well. You can double stack these and just get a ridiculous amount of saw ammo, because not only does this one give you more ammo, but it's going to increase the size of each magazine. So when you get an extra magazine for machine gun, the saw is 150, and then with an extra 75 bullets per mag using this, you're going to have 225 bullets per magazine, and then this one's going to give you an extra 225 bullets because you're going to get an extra magazine. So you can stack them up for Bastion. For Operator, no matter what gun you're using, I wouldn't really double up on them. Just use extended magazines. It's much better once you unlock it. Okay. For tip number 6, I want to talk very briefly about fall damage. You're going to see me take a jump here. I'm even going to jump off the railing just to show you that it's not really prominent in the game. I might lose a third of my health there, but that was a pretty extreme example where I intended to take damage. In most cases, like this next jump you're going to see, I'm going to take multi-stage jumps, and it's going to pretty much fully negate any damage you're going to take, so I wouldn't be scared of going quickly down vertical surfaces, okay? Alright, for tip number 7, I want to go over the infestation level in your matches. In a second here, you're going to see that the high priority target spawned. I'm going to look on my map and see where it is, highlight it, ping it for my team. If it's close by, I recommend going for it immediately. If it's not close by, maybe finish up wherever you're at, and then running over to it, or task somebody else. Make it known to your team that these missions are very important to do. You'll see on the top right of my screen that we have an infestation level of 2. It was previously 1, but when those red priority targets spawn on your map, it's going to increase your total infestation level by 1. And then if you don't get the mission complete, you'll have an allotted amount of time that you can see on the top left. If you don't finish it by that end timer, then that infestation level is going to be increased by 1 permanently. So you can see how that could kind of be an issue, given that these red priority targets spawn once every 4 or 5 minutes. If you don't quickly get on them, then they can get out of hand and you'll end up with infestation level 5. Makes it very hard to complete your other targets like collecting blue ore, collecting yellow gas, rocket launchers from the green, etc. So make sure that you guys are doing the red priority targets when they pop up. If they're not close by, task somebody else to them. And I mean, they're pretty simple to do. It's only kill 40 bugs. You can be within like about 100 meters proximity and it'll still count. So I ended up going to this one, clearing it out almost by myself, completely solo, and then a couple other teammates came by and helped me out finish the rest of it. Alright, for this tip I want to go over wall vaulting. You don't really need gates on your base. You can just use walls because you can actually just vault up these things. Doesn't matter if you do it where the slit is or if it's just the sheer wall. Your character can vault. The idea is just to get on top of this thing. You can also use to scale other things, like getting on top of something else next to it. But also these bunkers you can climb on top of as well. So gates are pretty obsolete. You can always use your walls to get into your base. Alright, so for tip 9, I wanted to go over the extraction screen. It's right above the door. You can see it there. It shows how many are on board, and also it gives you an estimate of how many people are KIA. Just use that in combination with your map to figure out who's actually dead. And once everybody's in the general vicinity of the ship, use your microphone to get everybody inside of the ship. A lot of people like to hang out near the ramps. Alright guys, last tip, number 10. This one's an exploit. You can layer the electric walls with a ramp wall. Put the ramp wall facing outward, same way as the electrical, and it actually works to stun the bugs. It's up to you whether you use it. Alright guys, thanks for sticking around at the end of the video. That was all 10 tips for beginners. If you have stuck around this long and you play Operator, here's a bonus tip for you. Wink wink. If you haven't realized already, your drone is tied to the amount of revives that you have, so your drone breaks after 3 revives. If you want to get more value out of your drone, hold on to it until people are already incapacitated around you, and then get close to them and hit your C button to deploy your drone. It's going to instantly revive them and not use any battery. So even if 10 people are down around you, you can get all 10 revives off of 1 drone battery without using any of that battery. So yeah, that's your bonus tip right there. And for the rest of you, thanks for sticking around. And if you want to play with me, I'm on Discord, Jacko#6796. You can add me and we'll play sometime. Other than that, thanks again, and we'll see you out there. Squash some bugs. See ya.